Welcome back to Hardball. Throughout his campaign, Senator Sanders has not shied from attacking prominent Democrats, including liberal lions like Senator Barbara Boxer of California, and more recently, Governor Jerry Brown, who endorsed Hillary Clinton yesterday. Sanders reacted to that news on KCBS radio, dismissing Brown as a member of the Democratic establishment.
I will tell you that in every state that we have gone into, we have taken on the entire Democratic establishment, whether the governors, senators, with one exception in Oregon. So it is not surprising to me that, we will have the Democratic establishment supporting Hillary Clinton.
Well, the Sanders campaign is also going after former U.S. Congressman Barney Frank of Massachusetts, asking the DNC last week to remove Frank as co-chair of the Convention Rules Committee. The challenge reads, quote, "The campaign has justifiable significant doubts in light of his past and present comments about whether Mr. Frank is capable of respecting Sanders supporters and what he has called their dumb and unrealistic viewpoints." While the DNC rejected the challenge, the letter also indicated that the campaign would be willing to take the issue to the floor of the convention if necessary. Well, this comes as a new NBC News Marist poll out today shows a tight race out in California. Clinton leads Sanders by just 2 percentage points, 49 to 47, obviously in the margin of error. I'm joined right now by Sanders campaign manager Jeff Weaver and by former U.S. Congressman Barney Frank of Massachusetts, who supports Hillary Clinton. Thank you, Jeff, for joining us. Are you guys still trying to remove Congressman Frank as chair of the Rules Committee of the convention?
Well, look, Congressman Frank has been a very hostile and aggressive attack surrogate for the secretary. And I think going into the convention, it would do everybody a lot of good to have people who, while they may be Clinton supporters, have played a less divisive role, not only insulting the senator, saying he hasn't accomplished anything in 25 years, calling him a McCarthyite, but also insulting really what at this point represents 45% of the Democratic Party. I think that a lot of people don't have confidence that somebody who is willing to dismiss that large a segment of the rank and file can be a fair adjudicator.
Congressman Frank, what do you think about this call that's been apparently rejected by the committee?
Let me start on a conciliatory note. I was very happy to hear Mr. Weaver say 45% of the Democratic Party conceding that Hillary Clinton represents 55%, because I think it's very important for people to understand that Hillary Clinton is very likely to win the nomination, not by any trickery or sleight of hand, but because she has been supported by a majority. Secondly, yes, I have been critical of Senator Sanders. I am somewhat surprised to hear a Sanders representative complain about divisive rhetoric. It seems to me that both he and I, Senator Sanders and I, have been very willing to speak out and be critical of other people. I don't think a one-sided objection to tough rhetoric is relevant. The next thing I would say is this letter claimed that I had this long-time opposition to Senator Sanders. It quoted something I said in '91, which I did say back at a time when he was still claiming that as an independent, he would be sort of equidistant from the Democratic and Republican parties. And I'm glad he's now understood that was wrong. But in fact, they forget, maybe Senator Sanders forgot to tell them, that in the earlier part of this century, as a senior member of the Banking Committee, at Senator Sanders' request, I went to Burlington to have a fundraiser for him. And frankly, as a senior member of the Banking Committee, sometimes when I did fundraisers, a bank or two showed up. So I hope for the sake of Senator Sanders' purity, they can scrub that and see maybe they need to give some money back. Finally, the role of the Rules Committee is a very, very small one. It has nothing to do with any of the issues that will decide who gets to be the nominee. What it does is enforce the parliamentary procedure. As a member of the House, as a chairman of a committee, one of my hobbies is parliamentary procedure. And that's why I was asked to do that. Let me just make this point. Under the rules, Senator Sanders and his group will be able to make amendments to the platform. I intend to enforce their right to do that. Senator Sanders will get nominated. He will make a speech. My role is to make sure that all of those rights that Senator Sanders has under the rules at the Democratic Convention are fully honored.
You know, Jeff,
even if the policies are dumb and unrealistic, I'm sure.
Let me ask you about the whole, I do understand why, I think from the outside, why Senator Sanders is making this a fight to the end, because he deserves to. He's raised the money. He's got the kids and the crowds. He's got a lot of things going for him. I understand. Why quit when you're ahead? You also have the doubtful question about emails and what that might do outside the factor here, outside the campaigning by both sides. All that's up in the air. But here's what I don't get, the simple dynamics of this. According to your candidate, he says he wants to wait until the superdelegates actually cast their votes. Well, they don't actually cast their votes till you cast the votes on the Wednesday of the convention. How does he get a speaking gig Monday or Tuesday night at the sufferance of the probable nominee if he hasn't conceded the election until he loses on Wednesday? This is what I don't get. Is your candidate going to fight this thing till the actual roll call? And if so, how do you get a concessionary primetime speaking opportunity Monday or Tuesday night if the roll call's not till Wednesday? Explain how that works.
Well, all of this will have to be debated.
No, how does it work logically? If you're still running against Hillary Clinton, why should the convention give you a speaking opportunity to speak against the probable nominee Monday or Tuesday night?
Why it's not about giving. It's about over 10 million people who supported Senator Sanders, about 2.5 million.
So you will ask for a speaking opportunity on Monday or Tuesday night while you're still running on Wednesday night. That's all I'm asking. Is that the way it looks right now?
Of course, Senator Sanders should have a prominent speaking role at the convention.
Even though he's still a candidate going into Wednesday?
Especially because he's a candidate going into Wednesday.
Well, then it's a campaign speech at the convention. He's running as a candidate on Monday or Tuesday night in prime time against Hillary Clinton. Now, should she get a primetime speaking gig, too, to match it? If she's still...
Sure, we'll work this all out, Chris. We can work it out. Everybody's grown up here. Everybody's grown up here.
You're going to get a primetime speaking opportunity Monday or Tuesday night, and you're still going to demand a fight on the roll call on Wednesday night. I don't understand how that works. It's never happened before. Just explain what it looks like.
Well, you know, Chris, there's a lot of things that have never happened before. That's the whole point of this campaign. There's a lot going on in this country that shouldn't be going on that we need to change. That's what Bernie Sanders is about. Just because it's the convention doesn't mean, and I mean the convention in the usual way of things, doesn't mean that's the way it has to happen this time. Okay. We're going to have a discussion, of course.
Okay, Mr. Frank, Congressman, how do you see that happening in the rules? How do you allow somebody to come in and speak Monday or Tuesday night, an active candidate? Do they get a speaking opportunity in primetime Monday and Tuesday night, Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders? How does that work?
It could be worked out. Look, I hope this will be, as I said, I think Senator Sanders has all these rights. I will say this, and I am one who's never said he should drop out. Of course he should continue to run. I just wish he could not be that unfair comment that Lyndon Johnson made about Gerald Ford. It was very unfair that he couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time. And as you know, he didn't really say walk. Yeah. I would hope that Senator Sanders could continue to make the case why he should be the nominee while not ignoring Donald Trump. You know, one of the things Mr. Weaver said that did trouble me was, well, at one point, we're only focused on June 14th. We're not focused on what happens after. Well, we do know there's an election. And yes, things you say now will have an impact later. I don't understand why Senator Sanders cannot vigorously continue his candidacy and his theme, but also spend as much time on Donald Trump, given that by the time the Washington, D.C. primary is over in 2 weeks, it will be clear that Hillary Clinton has a significant majority of the pledged delegates, reflecting her significant majority of the votes. And given that, working out, you know, if Senator Sanders speaks, well, he's still technically a candidate, even though it's clear he's going to lose, I don't see any problem with that.
Let me ask you, Jeff, do you want to respond to that?
Chris, obviously, if Mr. Frank thinks that Bernie Sanders has not criticized Donald Trump, he's obviously not one of the over 1.2 million people who've attended a Bernie Sanders rally.
Well, that's true.
No, but I see the ads, for instance. I haven't seen any of the ads being critical of Trump. I didn't say he never criticized him.
I think you should read the media accounts, Mr. Frank.
I'm sorry. I think you should not interrupt me. Let's all be civil. I think the fact is that overwhelmingly...
Well, that can start with you, sir.
Well, I haven't interrupted
one
you,
at a time.
Mr. Weaver, I haven't interrupted you.
Your turn.
Why the chip? The fact is that overwhelmingly Senator Sanders has focused more on Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton has been doing both, and I think that is unfortunate. And by the way, Senator Sanders says, and of course that's the case, given the things that have motivated him, of course he's going to want to see Donald Trump defeated if he's not the nominee, as I believe he won't be. But I think waiting until the very end is a mistake. And yes, he has made a couple of comments about Donald Trump. Yeah. The last thing I saw of him being critical of Trump was that Trump wouldn't debate him. But it is clearly the case that much more than Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders has focused on the intra-democratic issues and not on the critical case for all the values that we share as people who've been participating in this process of defeating Donald Trump.
Jeff, one last question. Why do you think Trump is holding out his tax returns? Everybody says he's going to be under tremendous pressure if he's going to be the nominee, obviously. Going into November, against either candidate, either your candidate or the other one, Hillary Clinton, he is under incredible pressure to release his tax returns. He refuses to do it. He keeps saying I'm under audit, which nobody believes. Why do you think he's not doing that?
Well, I don't know. There's been a lot of speculation, obviously. Maybe he doesn't make as much as he says he makes, or maybe he pays a much lower tax rate than people think he would otherwise should pay. There's obviously something he's trying to conceal, and he ought to release his tax returns.
There's obviously something he's trying to conceal. So why is your candidate not releasing his tax returns? What's he trying to conceal?
He did release
1 year out
some
of
of
1
his
year.
tax
He's been in public life for 20-some years. Why is he never released it?
And he's got House and Senate ethics reports dating back for forever.
But why not his tax returns? Goose, you just said that Trump is hiding something by not releasing his tax returns. What is your candidate hiding?
Well, my candidate's not hiding anything.
Well, why doesn't he release his tax returns? He's released 1 year, 14. That's it.
He has released some.
1 year.
And he has House and Senate ethics reports.
Yeah, but why doesn't he release his tax returns? You just said a minute ago that the fact that a politician who's running for president is not releasing his tax returns has something to hide.
You asked about Donald. Whoa. Okay. You asked about Donald Trump, Chris.
I asked you why wouldn't he release his tax returns?
It's not a hypothetical. You said why does Donald Trump not revealing his tax returns?
Fine. You said that Donald Trump would not release his tax returns because he was obviously trying to hide something. What is Senator Sanders hiding?
He's hiding nothing. And I think if you talk to anybody in the media who saw those tax returns from 2014, everybody thought there was going to be some big thing in there.
No,
and
I never said there was. I mean, I'm just asking the question, live question right now. You just went after Trump for not releasing his returns. Why doesn't your guy do it?
Yes, because Trump's a flim-flam artist and a fraud. I think we've seen that with his university.
Adjust yourself to the question I just asked. Why doesn't your guy release the returns?
I think that he will.
Oh, he will?
Sure. I think he said he will.
Senator Sanders will release his tax returns during the course of this campaign?
He said he would.
Before the convention?
He said he would, yes.
Well, can you give me a date?
I'll be happy to get you a date, Chris.
Okay, then we're making news here. Thank you, Jeff Weaver. You've cleared this thing up.
As always.
Thank you. Congressman Frank, thank you as always for coming on. Up next, course correction. Should the Hillary Clinton campaign